and welcome back to another Monday Fun Day where we are coming with passion unscripted episodes. And if this is the first time you're tuning in, welcome to the world of intimacy and love, where we talk on any topics. We love you as audience to comment, to participate, to also ask us in DMs what is something that you would love us to talk about because there are no boundaries when we come together with Dina. And that's the beauty of it because sometimes you cannot even talk on these topics among your friends or your family, but you can bring them here. And let's unpack it. Let's discover what life is all about because it has to be playful, it has to be fun, and it has to be joyful. And if this is the first time you are watching us, welcome. My name is Irina Portnova. I'm all about manifestation. How do we actually have our thoughts together in a way that they create the reality that we desire rather than just bringing something that we can't stand anymore? And I'm here with Dina Alexander, my co host. Dina, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course, it's Monday. It's fun day. We're having fun, and with these questions that we got, I'm having double fun. So my name is Dina Alexander. I live in Aruba. I am a personal coach. I am an intimacy coach, and I am a relationship coach. I do marry sex with spirituality because I do believe, it's firm believer that we create by having these two balanced. We are human beings. We are more than animals and just procreation. We can create what we want, but we need to know to learn how. That's what I do. Hi, Elle.
Yeah.
What is
And
in?
Elle, thank you so much for stopping by and always coming and just, like having this engagement. We always love to see you with us and welcome because today we are having part two. We started to talk about spilling the tea on love and intimacy, where everybody was bringing their questions in the real time, or we have some questions that came to us through the DMs, and that is something we continue talking. And Al, you are welcome to participate and also post your question because, again, there is no better question than the question that we are asking, right? Even though sometimes we might feel like, oh, is it a good question? Yeah, as long as you ask it, it's a very good question. So just feel free to ask us. And we had some online questions and we are going to cover them while waiting for Elle to ask us something in the real time. So there is a question to Dina, which was why does one partner often want more intimacy than the other?
Yes, yes. This is a very, very common question, and it's not only through this person that sent it to us, but I do have couples here in my office that has this dilemma. And you know what, Irina, desire is deeply connected to the nervous system, and one person may feel closer through touch, through sex, through affection, through physical closeness, while the other may need emotional safety, rest, less pressure, emotional connection first. And when those clash, couples start person take it personally. Let's say it like that. Okay. One partner think you don't want me anymore. The other thinks I feel pressured. But often the real issue is not love. It's disconnection. It's stress. It's resentment. It is exhaustion or emotional overload living in that body. And desire doesn't respond well to pressure. It responds to safety, openness, and connection. There is where desire really open up like a flower, not under pressure. Hey, I want sex now. Open up now.
Hmm.
No,
Hmm.
it doesn't go like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
that.
that. And I just wanted to add to that because, like you mentioned, Physical availability is also matters, because again, if I remember the time when I was nursing my baby, right? And when I was constantly exhausted, forget about sex. I wasn't even craving anything. All I wanted is just to have a nap and just to have a normal rest. And I feel the same applies to men when they are stressed at work. If there is something on their mind, it's difficult for them to be aroused and really perform in the bed, because there is something else on their mind. This is something that occupied their mind. So again, it's all about just like really connect with each other, talk, right? Again, like you mentioned, Dina, not assume and just make these conclusions based on our own thoughts. And we know how our thoughts work. They don't really work much in our advantage, right? So it's the best way is to communicate and ask, like, how can I make it better so we can do, right, things that we want to do together.
Yes, yes, totally with you, Irina. So, shall I ask you the next question?
Yes.
So, we got this question from our viewers, and I love it. So, can attraction come back once it fades?
That is such a beautiful question, because I feel that each one of us going through this kind of question at one point of our love life. And we can actually say that attraction comes back not by force, because attraction rarely disappears all at once. What happened a lot of times, it slowly starts fading out in the relationship when that relationship stops feeling emotionally alive. So the idea is that a lot of times when couple are together, at some point that get they become too comfortable with each other, and they are not really doing any work. But when the relationship is alive, when two people are constantly curious, playful, when they are thinking about, okay, what kind of experiences we can enjoy together, doing things for each other, right? If one partner loves massage, like the other partner delivers that massage. If another partner loves the breakfast in bed, right? So there are so many different ways, but it's all about when people get too comfortable. And we know what happens in the comfort. People are not really willing to put in the work. And if they do not put the work, they do not put the effort, it actually hits hard on that attraction level, right?
Yes,
So now understand that if we really want to continue playing with that connection, we still have to experience, we have to feel appreciated, we have to feel emotionally connected, we have to feel chosen every day, right, and feel seen. So again, attraction grows when we feel more emotionally engaged, when there is a curiosity of the partners about themselves, when they are connected beyond whatever responsibilities they have on a daily basis, beyond their routine, right? So the real question, I would say, is not about can attraction come back, but more about are both people willing to reconnect in a different way? Because when the emotional connection shifts, that's exactly where attraction shows up again. So great question.
yes, yes, I love it. And
Yeah,
you
beautiful.
you
Mm-hmm.
responded it perfectly. I don't have anything else to contribute.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
love
you
it.
can, yes, I think maybe from your sex, perspective, like maybe being more playful, right? Like,
Yes, I do maybe um playfulness. For example, Irina, if you are not playful with yourself, you can never be playful with another person. So it starts with you. So that's why when I coach, you start by connecting with yourself first. And if you don't know what you like, how to be playful, how can you do that in your relationship?
I love
Never.
that.
So that's for
Yes.
me very important. And intimacy dies when people stop meeting each other emotionally, just like you said. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And desire then struggles where resentment, pressure, and criticism and emotional distance live for too long. It really dies our
Mm-hmm.
struggle. Let's say it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so true. So again, it's never, too late to start exploring. And again, it's the effort that we are putting every day, and it's the choice that we have, right? We do not expect our partner to show up for us while we are just taking a free ride, or vice versa. It takes two to tango. I just love that. It takes two to tango,
It takes two
right?
to
Because
tango.
relationship is between two people, so you do want to maintain it and to nurture it and to love it and actually explore it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
we have the question from Al.
Aha. What
Okay,
is let
now
me
it's your turn to answer.
so the question for from L. Do you want to read it or you want me to read it?
Yeah, you can read it.
Okay. L states, is foreplay before sex? So, is foreplay before sex will increase libido and enhance longer sex? Let me try to respond it like this. Foreplay starts not only before sex, but the entire day. It's foreplay. The foreplay will tell you what kind of sex you will get. And without sex, without foreplay, is like animals on having and procreating. And enhancing longer sex, you mean um, do not ejaculate so fast? That's what you mean? And I'm going to respond to that. um, it's a training. You have to train. It depends on your pelvic muscle also how strong it is that you can hold longer your ejaculation. So it's a training, and I do provide that training for pelvic muscle. It's a muscle, and you need to train it for you to last longer. Okay, and it's a practice. So yes, Al says yes. If that's what he meant, I'm totally in tune with you, Al. So, yes, I do believe foreplay before the entire day, not only before sex. Because, Al, for example, let me give you an example. If I'm married to you and you wake up in the morning and I start lashing and criticizing, I don't know this, you are not doing this good, and you need to go and get some money from me, and I want sex at night, nothing will happen. Even though if I give you foreplay at night, those words will stay in the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you understand where I'm going through to. Foreplay is the way of life in a relationship. It starts in the morning when you wake up. Good morning, sweetheart. Use those special names. Give kisses before you leave you home. When your partner reaches home, even if you are a little bit annoyed to him or her, give her or him his or her kiss when you leave and when you get back. Hold hands when you sit and watch TV or you are walking in the street. Those are foreplay. And that will help the sex or making love. I rather call it making love. I hope
Mm-hmm.
I responded to what you asked, El. Let me know. Give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, so good. Everything is connected because our mental actually does have the stimulation for our, physical, right? So just
Yes,
understand how do we stimulate our brain in order to receive the best when it comes to intimacy.
yes, yes. So, next question. What is the next question, Irina?
Then
Um,
the next question is about emotional unavailability because I had somebody ask me what makes someone emotionally unavailable. And again, a lot of times emotionally unavailable has nothing to do with the lack of feelings because the person can feel And sometimes that intensity of feeling makes them go into that safety zone, because if they remember from the past that once they were very vulnerable, it leads them to the pain, to rejection, to the pressure or disappointment or loss of that control. So now they are in that shell because they feel like if they open themselves up, they are not protected. So a lot of times how it shows up, that emotional unavailability, is when the partner avoids deeper conversations, or they are struggling with the commitment, or maybe even pulling away when things really get close. And it's not because they do not love, it's not because their feeling are fading, but because they are just having that coping mechanism. Because initially when they were texting you, when they spent time with you, when they care deeply about you, but then there was like that switch where it reminded them that, like, it's not safe to be that open, right? And now they just close themselves up. That's exactly what happens when people start pulling away. That's exactly when they do not want to involve into the deep conversation. That's when they distract themselves, they become inconsistent, they keep things just surface level, or they create that distance because they don't want to be open and vulnerable. Why?
Yes.
Because that closeness feels very uncomfortable for them. And that important thing to understand is you cannot love someone into emotional availability. So that person can become aware of their own patterns. What is something that triggers that, right? So this way they start working how to be more emotionally present and how to actually stay where they love to be, not jeopardizing their love connection.
True, true. I'm totally with you. And if I can add something,
Yes,
um,
sure.
intimacy becomes difficult, very much
Mm-hmm.
difficult, because real closeness requires emotional exposure. Okay, and here's what's important: emotional unavailable people can often still crave love, but they struggle with being fully seen, as you said, depending emotionally on someone, staying open during vulnerability. They close off. Some people close off, just as like you said. And in the relationship, this creates confusion because one person feels come closer, while the other person consciously says not too close. And the body can desire connection while simultaneously fearing that connection awakens. So it
Mm-hmm.
is a power struggle in your body. And the only person that can work on that shadow work, because it's a work, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not your partner. It's but look, you know, when a couple comes to me and they start talking about she did this, that he did that, I start, what are you, what is your responsibility in this relationship? What it There is confusion, why that, what is your part in the confusion? Let's
Mm-hmm.
work on that first, and then we can work on the other, and usually the other resolves all by itself because you start working on yourself. That's how I treat my relationship couples, my couples in a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the responsibility on yourself first, right? Because it's easy to put the blame on somebody else, but hey, we are in that relationship together, right?
Yes.
So there is another part of the other partner, but again, it's all about being open and connecting with each other. That's why it's important to have that connection, that trust, right? Because if that trust is not built over time, that means that somebody is still closed off.
Yes. Oh, there is something coming in from L. Oh, L says mutual understanding and trust are important to keep a long last relationship. Yeah, that's a part of it. It's a mixture of various elements, L, and that is one of it. Compassion is one of it also, because you, even though you live together, when someone is going through, we all are going through our journeys, okay,
Absolutely.
and sometimes one of the partner's journey is heavier, so
Hmm.
compassion for your partner is needed in a relationship. That's another element, okay. I'm totally with you, Al. So
Hmm.
you want to go to the next question?
Okay,
Why?
let me see. Okay, next question is it normal to fantasize about other people while in the relationship?
Yes, that's being playful. Fantasy is human. Being in a relationship does not suddenly erase attraction to the world around you. The real question is, what role is the fantasy playing? Sometimes fantasy is harmless curiosity. Sometimes it's revealing boredom, emotional disconnection, lack of intimacy, unmet desires, or part of yourself that you've stopped expressing. Okay? And that is where fantasy comes in. Fantasy itself is not automatically betrayal. I don't believe that, and I don't encourage that way of thinking. I use fantasy to bring back that part of you, that child in you, because children have fantasies, okay? And we need that. For us to be playful, you need to have fantasies. It's very important, okay? Ignoring what it may be trying to communicate, that is where unconscious pattern begins, okay, because not all fantasy is you need to entertain. You need to know, you need to dissect it and look into it, if it's really going to add on your relationship or not, or it can destroy it also, okay. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's like it's a healthy way, especially when people are staying for a very long time together, right? Just to have some spark, but again, it just like fantasy is one thing, but doing the thing is like in real life, it's completely different, right? So whatever you have in your imagination, you have your imagination to play with, right?
Yes.
And again, as long as there is some kind of connection with the partner, because like you mentioned, I think what really is important, Dina, is to like explore with your partner, because if one person was holding because they feel that they will be judged or like looked upon from their partner, that means that there is already some lack that has to be actually fulfilled. And that's where fantasy is something that is kind of compensating for that. But again, there are so many ways you can explore with your partner, and it's all about coming down to again openness and like willingness to explore, to try, and that's exactly what makes the connection even stronger.
Yes. Yes, I'm totally with you. So the time flies, look.
Hmm.
So what do you think? We can't continue because I have a client
Yes.
in a couple of minutes, but it was very nice this, and we have
Yeah.
a lot of more.
Yeah,
Um,
and I wanted to cover another great point. Why do some couples fight all the time but still stay together? Because I feel, like a lot of people are experiencing it.
yes, you know, because touch slowly becomes associated with expectation. Partner starts thinking, if I touch them, they'll expect sex. Okay, that's what that's the
Look at Giovanni. Giovanni!
Oh,
Doing
you
our own shadow work first, right? Healing also comes in the forms of an ever increasing awareness of our own toxicity, toxic patterns. Becoming spiritually conscious also include owning when our very own fantasies are robbing the relationship of life and essence. Yeah, thank you so much.
wow,
Thanks
we
for
have.
your input. Yes, it's great to have you with us as well.
Yes, I'm totally honored. So I was replying to a question. I forgot the question.
The question was very cool about why a lot of couples are fighting, but they are still together.
Ah, okay. Yeah, as I was saying, some couple mistake emotional chaos for passion, and that's uh, something it can destroy a relationship. The nervous system becomes addicted to conflict, and it, maybe now that I'm telling you, it you cannot see it, but the nervous system really um, gets accustomed to it. It
Mm-hmm.
gets accustomed to conflict and the part of reconciliation, fight sex, emotional high and lows. That's what the nervous system knows. And it reacts to that. And that's why they stay together, because there is where it gets it. And if you knew that calm connection can actually feel better, you don't know because you've never felt it. It's unfamiliar. And for some people, even boring. But that is what your body needs. That will calm the nervous system and the heartbeat and everything. Okay? Um, in that situation, in that house, when couples fight and all the time, but still stay together, um, the love feels like survival. That's the best way how I can describe it. You are surviving in an environment that you choose to stay in. A relationship is not healthier because people fight passionately. Healthy love is not the absence of conflict. I'm not saying that. It is the ability to repair without destroying each other in the process. And I always tell my clients, if the both of you are fighting and one of them come to me, that person that's coming to me needs to be bigger, needs to have the ability and choose to be bigger in the relationship, because you need to stop that response to the nervous system. And when you enter calmness in the relationship, then the nervous system will search for something other than that chaos, that
You know
emotional
what?
chaos. The system is looking for passion.
I was smiling because two things showed up for me. First of all, it's like you were talking about nervous system. It's like addiction. The same like, people know that it's not good to smoke for their health. People know it's not good to drink a lot. People don't know that it's not good to do drugs, right? But they keep doing because again, that's the addiction. Same thing with these patterns, right? And I remember in my marriage, my ex used to fight all the time. It just like anything, just like, the match, and it was just right on fire, and I hated it to my guts. But like I kept quiet. Like sometimes I would just start also fighting back, but then at the end of the day I was more exhausted from that. And like again, it comes to the point where you have to choose yourself, because if you are not loving that dynamic, because my nervous system was not okay with that, right? If you do not like that dynamic, sooner or later you have to choose yourself and step away from that.
Yes, yes, amen. I love it. I love these questions, and maybe we should do it often, because there are a lot more
Yeah,
questions like this.
yeah.
Yes.
So definitely, definitely. Well, thanks so much everybody for tuning in. Thanks so much for Elle and Giovanni to show up live. It was great to see you. And continue submitting us, everyone, the questions, because this way, next time around when we have this Q&A, we'll definitely cover your questions. And if you want to come and ask live, we are even going to be more happy to see you and to communicate with you. But remember, as long as we are breathing, we are constantly having some kind of situations that we are dealing in a real time. And what's the best way than just come together during these sessions and say, hey, nobody is perfect. We are all humans and we are all learning through these experience. So continue learning, continue fine tuning and understanding yourself better, because the more you understand yourself, the more you know what is something that you would love to experience in your life, and the more life is going to add more value and more meaning and more love to you. All right, Dina wanted to say something.
Yes, of course. Hey, I if you love these questions and you want to us to dissect and talk a little bit more with you, or um, keep it recorded for you, please do state in the comments what question you want us to dissect, and we will do it with pleasure. It was a pleasure being here with you guys. Next Monday we will be on if God wants that. So we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in and have a blessed week. Continue loving yourself and stay curious. Stay curious how you can make that love and relationship better. All right, all the best. Bye.